Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I have here another 10 pens currently inked this week. I think let's go through these briefly one by one. We'll go through them in a little bit more detail and then we'll do a writing sample. So from left to right we have what looks to be a Montblanc, but no, this is the Majohn Titanium TI 136. We have a Montblanc, and this is the Karl the Great, or Karl the Grosse. We have an Onoto, and this is the Charles Dickens Christmas Carol 2024. We have a Benu, Euphoria Earl Grey Tea. We have a Conway Stewart Centenary. We have a Conway Stewart, and this is the Chatworth. We have an Onoto, and this is a Flying Scotsman. A Montblanc Writer's Edition, and this is Jane Austen. We have a Conway Churchill in the blue Stardust, and I think let's take a look at these pens in a little bit more detail. So this is the Majohn Titanium TI 136. This is a really spectacular pen. The Majohn pens typically run around $40 to $50. If you want this hammered titanium edition, you're looking at about 130-ish pound euro dollars. So this is not a cheap Chinese pen, but it is very well made. And it really does look like a Montblanc Martelet in so many ways. Obviously, you don't get the snow cap there for Montblanc. But this hammered textured edition is really quite intriguing. You've got a piston here as well, and you also have an ink window here, although I have to agree it's really hard to see the ink through here. And I have to also say that be a Montblanc 146 or Montblanc 149, you equally have difficulty seeing the ink in these little vertical slits. I do have a lemon nib on here. And this is what they call a bent nib, where the tip is slightly turned up, and you could probably see that there. I didn't like how that wrote, so I did grind it down, and it's a little bit more of an architect style nib. I can post the cap as well if I want to. It does grip onto the piston knob, so you always do have to be a little bit careful. The section is very flat. There's no sort of concaveness going on with screw threads, but this is a really nice pen. And since I sort of ground that nib and made it write a lot better, it really didn't write well out of the box. I was expecting a medium nib and I didn't get a medium nib. And this is some of the issues with buying Chinese pens. Also buying Chinese watches as well. You just, or anything Chinese, you just don't quite know what you're getting. Some of it can be really good quality, it can be really exact, and others can be really bad quality or just not what you ordered. So you do take a little bit of a hit and miss approach there. So you do have to be careful on something like this. I kind of wish I got a medium nib, but now this writes so nice. I really like this nib, but I did have to tune it. The next pen, which is a lot more expensive, is the Montblanc Karl the Grosse, or Karl the Great. And this is a really beautiful sterling silver pen. I really do like this. It's got a Montblanc star cap there as well, or snow clip. It's really, really nice pen. You've got these gold trim accents on it as well. And you also have a little jewel there as well in the cap clip. If I unscrew it, it is quite a short pen. It's got a number 6 size Montblanc nib on this one, and it is a medium nib. And you can see there, it is on the shorter side in my hand. I can post the cap on this, which is fairly rare, at least from the Montblancs that I have in my collection. So you can post the cap, but it does make it very back weighted. Slight concave section there, which just makes it a little bit more comfortable to write with, but it is a short section. And then you've got the threads there as well. But it is a beautiful pen. I'm glad it's a 4810, so I'm glad I added this to my collection. 4810 models are not cheap, but I got it for a really good price. And if you've been watching enough of my videos, you will know by now that if you can get a pen for cheaper, it's better to do so for a number of reasons. And okay, yes, you could find that it might be used more, or it might have scratches on it. But ultimately, if you can get a new, let's say new old stock, so it's never been inked, or even a really good version of the pen that may have just been lightly used for a lot less than retail price, and it just means that if you want to sell that pen later, you would be able to do so and not have any issues there. The next pen inked up is this one, and this is the Onoto, and it's the Charles Dickens, and it's the Christmas Carol 2024 edition. You can see the Onoto there, cap finial. You can also see this lovely cranberry colour with also some cross hatching there, and you've got this lovely sterling silver overlay on the cap, and you've got painted green leaves and red berries on this. It really is quite an interesting pen. I picked this one up at the London Pen Show in October last year. I got a number 7 size Onoto 18 karat gold medium nib. Medium is really what I typically go for. I know it may not be as interesting for some people, but it's just I find that I like to see the colours when I write. You can post that cap as well. The body is quite light. Actually, I should say extremely light. So I will be adding a 7-gram brass barrel insert into that pen if I can get one. And it will just add another 7 grams to it. And 7 grams actually makes a lot of difference in terms of weight. And I know because I've done this on a number of Onotos, and I really am liking them a lot more now because they've got that added weight. The next pen inked up is the Benu Euphoria, and it's the Earl Grey tea. And this is the broad nib one that I ordered from Goulet Pens. And I want to say it was last year. Wow, it was actually 23 December, so just over a year now. But it's a beautiful pen. I do like it a lot. I also have a medium one as well. This really is a lovely writing pen. I've got a number 6 size Schmidt steel nib there, and as I said, it is a broad nib. It's a cartridge converter, just like the Onoto. You can post the cap if you want to. The cap is quite light. It's not the lightest cap I've seen, but it still makes the pen quite light. The next pen inked up is the Conway Stewart, and this is the Centenary. And this was to really commemorate 100 years of Conway Stewart. Sadly, I want to say it was about 6 years after that, Conway Stewart closed their doors, which was a real shame. But a lot of companies have done that in the fountain pen market over the years. This one, though, it's a beautiful pen. It's a Henry Simpole overlay, and again, Henry Simpole sadly passed away in 2020. But he made some really beautiful overlays, and this one has a original Conway Stewart, and this is a 18 karat gold broad nib there from Conway Stewart. And again, it's a cartridge converter. You can post the cap. It won't post deeply, but it will post securely. But it makes it very long and a little bit back weighted. For me, I find that this pen is certainly long enough for me, so I don't feel the need or want to post that cap. The next pen, which is even longer, this is a pen that I really wanted when I bought this one, but it wasn't available anywhere, and then it came up for sale and I had to buy it. And this, again, is a Conway Stewart. And this is the Chatworth in blue sapphire. And again, it's got a Henry Simpole overlay, sterling silver here. It really is beautifully done. So, I'm so glad that I picked both of these up and added them to my collection. I'm so sad that Henry Simpole is no longer with us. I would like some more sapphires. If you some more Chatworths from Conway Stewart. If you see any for what might be a good price, let me know. I'd be interested in the red. I think there was a black. This has a original Conway Stewart 18 karat gold fine nib. Can I post a cap? Yes, you can. But again, it's a wand. It's massive. It's not something you're going to want to post. I have seen a few of these on eBay in Japan for insane prices, and I'm not prepared to pick one of those up. But if, like with this one becomes available in the UK, then and it's a good price or a pretty good price, then I will certainly take a look at getting and picking up one of those. The next pen inked up is the Onoto Flying Scotsman. This is the green version here, and you can see here it's number 57 of 100. 100 made. You've got various themes around the steam train here, and you can see here the clip as well. You've even got this very elaborate cap band there, which is amazing. And then obviously LNER as well, and 4472, which was the number it was known under. Very, very good pen from Onoto. A number 7 size. This is a steel broad nib from Onoto. You can't post a cap. I did add a brass insert into the barrel here, and that just makes it a little bit more weighty. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. Let me... Because sometimes they do actually stick in here. Yeah, it's right there at the tip. But I don't think I can pull it out. It's just catching slightly. I probably could if I had some tweezers or something, but I don't have those with me at the moment. Oh, maybe it's almost coming out. Not quite, though. I've got it out a little bit more there that you can probably see, and it's just catching a little bit. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to get that out easily. I was just thinking about maybe seeing if I could take that one out and put it into the Onoto there, but yeah, that's I probably won't be able to do that easily. It is quite a tight fit on some of those brass inserts into some of those pens, but that's the way it should be, and I do like the idea of that, and I have just seen something that might be able to get it out. So let's see if I can do that. There you go. I have actually managed. Hey! Round of applause to get it out. So let's see if I can put this in the Onoto Charles Dickens Christmas Carol, because in theory this brass insert should just fit over there nicely, and it should fit into that barrel. It's going to be a tighter fit. I probably don't want to do that just in case I can't get it back out, he says. So I will just put that in there. It's a little bit more easier to put into the Flying Scotsman than it is into the Christmas Carol. But maybe I will get one, or get probably 3 or 4 of them, because there will be, if not already, some Onotos that I do want to put a brass insert into. I can think of at least 1 pen, if not 2 pens now. So if I were to buy 4 of those brass inserts, that would then give me 2 spare, which I think would make a lot of sense. The next pen inked up is this one, and it is the Montblanc Writer's Edition Jane Austen. I said this before at one point. It's got a very beautiful cap finial here. The clip is very intricate. It's just a really beautiful pen. I do like this a lot. It is like all Montblancs, or most Montblancs, piston filling pen. And then you have Jane Austen on the number 6 size Montblanc 18 karat gold nib. It's a decent size, but you cannot post the cap again on this one. But it's a decent weight. It's a heavy weight, although I want to say 2/3 of the weight is in that cap. So if you're thinking that this is probably about a 93 gram weight pen, I think, then or around that, you're going to find that probably it's about 50 grams in weight. Actually, no, it's probably going to be less than that. The cap will be about 50 grams in weight, so about 40 grams probably in the weight of the pen. I can't remember exactly. You'd have to look at the unboxing video I did with that one. The next pen inked up is the Conway Stewart Churchill, and this is in the blue Stardust. Beautiful blue Stardust material. It's a resin, it's not a celluloid, but it really sparkles. I do like this. I've got a red Stardust in the Churchill. I've got a red Stardust in the Series 100. It has the, I want to say newer, but it's also now older, flag nib there from Bespoke British Pens, who essentially revived Conway Stewart. It is a cartridge converter, and you can post the cap on this, and it really, really is a beautiful pen. So I have that one inked up with me this week. And then the final pen is the Mike Green, and this is the Juma Golden Dragon that Mike sent to me for review. I still have it. It's a beautiful pen, and I am going to get a few other colours. And when I say I'm going to get a few other colours, they have already arrived. But this is a beautiful dragon pen. I've looked at a few more of his that he had made, and I really love these. So hats off to Mike for making such a great pen. The nibs are hand-tuned from Kirk Spears. This is a broad nib. I think I would probably go with a broad nib again. It's a Bock nib, cartridge converter. But Mike did in these put a TWSBI converter because it holds more ink. And I have to say, I'm liking the additional ink capacity, but still being in a converter. So for me, I am loving that pen. And I have that one inked up as well this week. So there you have it. That's my 10 pens currently inked for this week. I think let's now go and do a writing sample. So the first pen inked up is the Majohn Titanium TI 136. We'll do an ink swatch here, and I have to say I have quite a few Majohns now, and it is becoming incredibly difficult to remember the numbering scheme that they have. Like I get it, like Asvine do like P for piston, T for or V for vac. But the numbering on Majohns, they're a little bit all over the place in terms of models. So this is the Majohn Titanium, and it's a TI 136, and it is essentially a medium. It's a steel nib. I did grind this nib down, and it's become a little bit more of an architect style nib. The ink in here is Diamine Earl Grey, which is an ink that I like, and I typically ink up in a lot of pens, certainly a lot of silver and a lot of grey pens. The next pen inked up is the Montblanc Karl de Grosse, or Karl the Great. So we'll do an ink swatch here. Now, I was just thinking, or trying to think, what ink I had inked up in this pen, but I do now remember what that ink is. And this is the Montblanc Karl de Grosse. I think it's an R. And it's a medium 18 karat gold nib. And the ink in here is Pelican, Edelstein, and it's Moonstone. And I wanted a lighter grey ink to match the sterling silver, and I kind of think that went okay. I really wanted to put Diamine Earl Grey in that pen, but I have so many pens, grey pens inked up with Diamond Earl Grey. It was easier, better just to put a different ink in there. The next pen inked up is the Onoto, and this is a Charles Dickens Christmas Carol 2024. So we'll do an ink swatch. And I still have the same ink inked up in this pen that when I unboxed it and bought the pen. So this is the Onoto. It's a Charles Dickens. It's a Christmas Carol 2024 edition, and it's a medium, and it's an 18 karat gold nib. And the ink in here is Diamine Ho Ho Ho. And I still think that's the most ideal ink. I think the only other ideal ink I could probably put in that pen would be if there was, let's say Diamine did a red and called it Charles Dickens or Christmas Carol, in which case I would probably put that ink in there. Now I'm just thinking, is there a Christmas Carol ink? There could be. I don't think I've seen it. But Diamine Ho Ho Ho, Christmassy versus Christmas Carol, I think is a good match. The next pen inked up is the Benu Euphoria Earl Grey Tea. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And I still have this lovely gold, it's a shimmer ink actually, inked up. So this is the Benu Euphoria Earl Grey Tea, and it's a broad, and it's a still Schmidt nib, and the ink in here is Vinter, and it is Whiskey Gold. But that is a lovely gold shimmery ink. I'm not seeing at the moment a lot of shimmer in that, but it's probably because it's been sat for a while. The next pen inked up is the Conway Stewart Centenary. And we will do an ink swatch. Now, this is a broad nib, and this nib writes really well. I do like it, but it also is a little bit broad. So this is the Conway Stewart Centenary, and it's a broad, and it's an 18 karat gold nib. Oh, that was me, not the nib. And then the ink in here is KWZ. This also, I think, KWZ Grey Lux. I think that is getting low on ink. So, yeah, it really is. I don't know if you can see that, but that is ink, sort of residual ink around the converter here, which I've got a little bit on my fingers there, but there is actually no ink sloshing around inside, so that pen is actually on empty. I will have to re-ink that one up, and I now do have a little bit of ink on my fingers, and on my thumb as well. Probably shouldn't have tried to turn that converter, but clearly there wasn't a lot of ink left inside that pen. The next pen inked up is a Conway Stewart Chatworth. Now, I typically like medium nibs. I can go for broad nibs. I kind of wanted a medium nib in this one, and I kind of wanted a medium nib in this Chatworth. But let's do an ink swatch, because you'll see here that this is a fine nib, and I would have preferred a medium nib, but I didn't have the option of buying one. So this is the Conway Stewart. And it's the Chatworth, and it's a fine, and it's an 18 karat gold nib. I probably could do with putting a darker blue ink in there, to be honest. And the ink in here is Franklin, Christoph, Spanish blue. But it's starting to show a little bit darker now. But it still could be maybe... I kind of want to put Diamine Sapphire blue in there, because that could be a nice darker blue. But it is quite viscous and it does sheen quite a bit, and I'd rather not. The next pen inked up is the Onoto, and this is the Flying Scotsman. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And you can see here again, this is a broad nib. So this is the Onoto Flying Scotsman. And it's a broad, and it is a still Yovo nib in that one. And then the ink in here is Diamine Meadow, which I really do think is a perfect match for this pen. And even though that is a broad steel nib, I am loving how that one writes. The next pen inked up is the Montblanc Writer's Edition, and this is the Jane Austen. So we'll do an ink swatch here. Now this is, we're going back to a medium nib, but I love how this nib writes. So this is the Montblanc, and it's the Jane Austen. And it's a medium 18 cat gold nib. And the ink in here is Pilot Oroshizuku Aji Sei, which is a really nice ink, and will be buying a few more bottles of that ink. The next pen inked up is the Conway Stewart, and this is the Churchill in the blue Stardust. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And this is quite a nice writing nib. So this is the Conway Stewart, Churchill, blue Stardust, and it's a medium, and it's an 18 cat gold nib. And the ink in here is Lamy Turquoise, which is a nice blue ink, and I have to say I am still loving that ink. That colour is quite nice. And then the last pen inked up is this one. It's the Mike Green, and it's the Juma Golden Dragon. So we'll do an ink swatch here. Going back to a broad nib again, but I do like this. So this is the Mike Green Juma Golden Dragon, and it's a broad, and it's a steel nib, and the ink in here is Diamine Ochre, which is a very favourite of my brown inks, and I have to say that it still is one of my favourites. So I think with that, let's take a look at these pens inked up one more time. We've got a Majohn Titanium TI-136 in a medium steel nib inked up with Diamine Earl Grey. We have a Montblanc Karl de Grosse in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Pelican Edelstein Moonstone. We have an Onoto Christmas Carol 2024 edition in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Ho Ho Ho. We have a Benu Euphoria Earl Grey tea in a broad steel nib inked up with Winter Whiskey Gold. We have a Conway Stewart Centenary in a broad 18 karat gold nib inked up with KWZ Grey Lux. We have a Conway Stewart Chatworth in a fine 18 karat gold nib inked up with Franklin Christoph Spanish Blue. We have an Onoto Flying Scotsman in a broad steel nib, inked up with Diamine Meadow. We have a Montblanc Jane Austen in a medium 18-karat gold nib, inked up with Pilot Orochizuku Aji Sei. We have a Conway Stewart Churchill, and this is in the blue Stardust in a medium 18-karat gold nib, inked up with Lamy Turquoise. And then we have a Mike Green Juma Golden Dragon in a broad steel nib, inked up with Diamine Ochre. So there you have it. That's my 10 pens currently inked for this week. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.